Hey YouTube, Rico Knows here. Going to talk to you guys about the results from UFC 317. If you aren't aware, we went, let's check the record here. For the night, we went 7-4. Now, we took 3 underdogs, so knowing that right off the rip, 3 underdogs is hitting at 42%, so that's going to be a little difficult. And then we missed 1 lean. Outside of that, man, going 5-1 on leans, 1-0 on locks, feels pretty good. Maybe it's 4-1 on lean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-1 on leans, correct. So it feels pretty good. Unfortunately, gave you 2 parlays to choose from. 1 hit, the lock hit. The other one didn't. I wish they all hit. And then I gave you guys a list of my favorites. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of the 5 win of my favorites. That's 80% on the money line. Do what you want with that. Round robin them. Create your own parlays. I don't care. You guys all do what you do. So all in all, a pretty good night if you're a responsible gambler, if you're smart about what you're doing. But let's go talk about these fighters because I need to break them down for you guys so we know what we're talking about moving forward on them and give you a synopsis of who they are. So in the first fight of the night, Denise versus Alvin Hines. Now, I talked about this fight, and what I told you in the pre-fight video was pretty simple. Denise is known as a world-class striker. He's known as one of these guys that can really punch. But for me, he doesn't have the right speed. He doesn't have the right power, but he does have knockout power. I mean, these are heavyweights. And he looks like a more accomplished striker. And then I go and watch Alvin Hines, and I go, man, I like the way Alvin Hines fights. I love it. He throws combos well, good enough, but he's more of a grappler. And if he doesn't get the takedown, I feel like he's going to get sparked on his feet, and he just doesn't have that in him. I think he leaves his chin exposed. He doesn't fight defensively well, meaning he doesn't naturally roll with strikes, doesn't have good head movement or control the distance, levels, changes, all this stuff. He's not there. What it is he's a grappler who's been taught how to strike, but it's not natural to him. It's not one of those muscle memory things. So he's out there having to do things to mimic fighters, and then his body will just naturally do what he wants to do. And when it comes to grappling, he's really good at that. So in the first round of this fight, Alvin Hines is doing everything pretty solid. He's throwing some strikes, whatever, but he's not used to it. And Denise is piecing this man up because he's throwing much harder. He can pivot on his strikes. He can step in the pocket. He can reach with his range, and it just starts to avalanche. And unfortunately for Alvin Hines, you see him here, 1 out of 10 takedowns. The man keeps trying to get a takedown, and I told you, Denise has good defensive takedown. Like, he has good takedown defense, and if you can't get the man down on the mat, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Now, I want to give Alvin Hines all his flowers, because even though I picked Denise in this fight, Alvin Hines made it to the final bell. I didn't see that coming after the first round. So Alvin Hines is tough as nails, had good cardio, and I think he throws some systematic strikes. I think he could beat some other less accomplished heavyweights. Like, we see Denise winning fights. He's won fights. He's on a winning streak right now. I think Alvin Hines can beat all the guys he's beaten. Alvin Hines, I believe, is a UFC caliber fighter. So I'm glad I got it right. Shout out to the MVPs who believed in it and took it. Obviously, it was a minus 500. It's not much to talk about there. Unfortunately, some of you guys were on the not go the distance, and then it did. That sucks. But at the end of the day, I'm just glad we dodged that landmine. Next fight, Jacoby Smith versus Nico Price. This isn't right, man. Nico Price looks like he wears whitey tighties, and that means he doesn't belong here. It's just crazy. So the fight starts. Jacoby Smith just goes, gets a takedown, does what he wants to do. Very aggressive, very mean. He had an advantage everywhere. Did he look like a minus 3,000 fighter? Probably. I mean, he was never in danger at any time. He's just mauling this man, controlling what he wants to control, going for various submission after various submission, eventually gets a win by rear naked choke. Nico Price was too busy talking to Joe Rogan in between rounds. That guy is not a real fighter. And unfortunately, Vegas is onto it, so they're going to give us terrible odds every single time. Maybe just bet that he won't make it the distance. I don't know. But it was easy. Jacoby Smith, I didn't learn anything about him in this fight. He's a tremendous athlete, goes out there, closes the distance, and does what he does. And I know Nico Price is fake. Next fight, Terrence McKinney versus Borchev. And I talked to you guys about this in the pre-fight video. I said Terrence McKinney wins in the first round, or he doesn't win the fight. And sure enough, he wins in the first round. It's incredible. He wins in 55 seconds. Terrence McKinney came out, caught a kick, and then just followed it to the ground and was ruthless. And he ends up winning with, it was looking like an anaconda, Darce choke type deal, something in there. And then he eventually rolled it into a mounted guillotine, which is extremely painful. And you just look like a little baby trying to get your feet free, trying to get out of this mess, but you can't do it. Borchev, I told you guys I felt like he's not a good fighter. He's one of those other fighters that McKinney beats. McKinney will lose to a name. That's not a name. He's not losing to him. I also said, be careful because McKenna was a minus 200, and some days he don't look like a minus 200. But he did in this particular fight, so shout out to him getting the win. And Borchev is now 8-6-1. Stop thinking he's tough. Slava Claus is fighting on the early prelim fights, and he's almost a 50-50 fighter. Take your chances betting against him every single time. Shout out to McKenna looking the part. Next fight, Viviane Arujo versus Tracy Cortez. Man, I had such a good read on this, and it didn't matter. Tracy Cortez looked crisp on the feet. She looked crisp and striking. She actually looked faster, and all that has to do with Viviane Arujo being old and a ton of lactic acid in her arms. So when you watch the first round, Arujo goes for a takedown. She's world-class on the ground. She's looking the part. She's got everything going. She takes Tracy's back. She gets a good takedown. She's using her jiu-jitsu, her wrestling, her judo, everything. And it looks great initially. Then at about the 2:30 mark of the first round, she gets her arm pulled over the head, which means you no longer have this choke from the rear. Now we're going to get rid of the hooks. Now we're going to turn into you, and we're going to punish you for the next 2.5 minutes. And it really turned into a punishment for the next 12.5 minutes because that was the closest she ever got in this fight. After losing control of those first 2.5 minutes, Tracy Cortez took over this fight, and it was a snowball. Right? It just kept going and building and going and going. And next thing you know, this wasn't even a competitive fight towards the end. Pretty boring. I told you go the distance, and that was a lean prop, which hits all the time. My lean props hit all the time. So we got that right, going the distance. And Trace Cortez looked good. But I did say take the underdog. The odds felt right, and I was wrong. I'm usually wrong about 61% of the time and when taking those underdogs like that. So it is what it is. But good luck with that. It happens. Shout out to the girl. Stop betting on him. Next fight, Jose Miguel Delgado versus Hyder Emil. I felt like the odds, it's a coin flip fight. I know I told you guys, stay away from the apps at this fight. Do not bet on this fight. Just enjoy it, watch it, cheer. You don't need to get it right. You don't need to put any money on it because Hyder Emil's a dog. And then the fight starts, and Hyder Emil goes out there to get his takedown, to get his shot, to smother, do his things. And Jose Miguel Delgado, one thing I didn't anticipate was, as tall as he is, he throws a knee, and this knee puts Hyder's legs just locked out straight, knocked out quick. Now, Hyder did come back too very fast. Hyder was still moving defensively to some extent. Should it have been stopped? I believe so. But I can understand Hyder Emil felt like he was very alert. This fight ended very quickly. This is disappointing because I wanted to see these boys scrap and go to the deep end. What do we learn about this fight? First and foremost, Jose Miguel Delgado is the truth. He can really scrap. You're not going to get him any cheaper moving forward. Vegas is going to make it very, very pricey to believe in him. And Hyder Emil, being as small as he is, Vegas does not like his stature, his size. I still believe in his dog because to take a knee straight to the face, to go straight leg, knocked out, and then hit the mat and be back on your feet within 5 seconds. Like back on your feet within 2 seconds is nuts. So I still believe in Hyder Emil. I still think he's a cool little dude. But I told you, don't even, your money belongs somewhere else and not this particular fight. If you believe in Jose, congratulations. Delgado's been a dog for a while now. So shout out to him. Jacker Manson, Robocop. Pretty simple fight to call. Got it right, 100%. I told you that these guys are going to exchange in strikes, and Jacker Manson doesn't throw hard enough to really hurt you, and Robocop throws harder in the pocket. And so when you're throwing equivalent strikes, one guy's going to hurt and the other one's not. When I was a kid, we used to play this game called Bloody Knuckles, and we would punch each other's knuckles, and whoever starts bleeding first loses. And I remember always playing Bloody Knuckles against this other kid, and it just, no matter what I did, his knuckles just hurt more than mine. He's bony little dude. His knuckles, he wasn't little, but his knuckles just hurt. I wouldn't bleed. They just hurt. And I was like, bro, I don't want to do this with you. Like, my fist just hurt. I want to punch you in the face. Like, I don't want to do this. It's not fun to just sit here and pretend to punch each other's knuckles. So anyways, I feel like anybody fighting Gregor Rodriguez is in the same boat. I don't want to do this. This isn't good for me. And Jacker Manson left his head on the center line. Dean Thomas called it in the middle of the fight. He did not have great head movement coming out of his combo. So if you follow a jab back, you're going to be in. And what I will say is this. There was some strikes early on where Robocop wasn't putting everything on it. He was just pacing himself. And you hear him in the post-fight conference. He starts talking about, I don't need to hit you as hard as I can to knock you out. I'm going to pace myself. That's cool and everything, but I don't like it. That means you're not fighting at an optimal level. That means you're not pushing and giving it your all. That means if you eventually get too tired, I want you to think about this. When you don't have the cardio to go out there and throw them things the way that you should, then you might go an entire fight having never thrown your best punch. You might go an entire fight having never tried your hardest because you're afraid to push yourself to that point. Like if I go run a 5K right now, at no point during my 5K am I going to run the fastest I can run. Never. So if I tried to race you in a 5K, right? Let's say I'm racing you in a 5K and you beat me because I get tired. Look, these fights aren't a long distance race. What if I told you at any point during the 5K, if I'm ahead of you, I win? At any point during the race, if I'm ahead of you, I win. That's exactly what MMA is. If at any point I'm ahead of you, I win. This isn't about who can get to the finish line first. If I'm ahead of you at any point during this race, I'm winning. You're knocked out. And I want Robocop to be that guy, to go out there and impose his will. Now, he won this fight by knockout, and I believe in him. But remember, I picked him this time around to win, and I told you it was going to be like an Iron Turtle type of fight, just like the week prior, the Korean fighter, Iron Turtle. It's just one of these really durable, tough guys who go out there and do it. But he fought different, and I don't like it. Remember, I faded him the last time he was in the cage, and we got it right. But this time, I knew he was stronger than Jacker Manson. I understood that he was going to win this fight. But I did not like the way he was bleeding in the first round. You weren't even touched up that much, and you were bleeding. So he wears damage terribly. He already looks old and unappealing. He was outstruck in this fight. He was very low output. Hermanson threw twice as many strikes as him. Obviously, his were harder. His were stronger. But it's a very scary premise when you get a great fighter with a lot of power, go out there and never once throw the punch with full power. I don't like it. I actually think it's a recipe for failure and disaster. I really do. Okay, so shout out to Robocop, and I'm glad we got it right. Next fight, Felipe Lima versus Peyton Talbot. I had to go back and watch my assessment on this fight. I was driving home from Charlotte. If you don't know, my flight got canceled last night. I ended up in Charlotte in a hotel, and then Kim had to drive up there to pick me up. And we were driving back home, and I said, hey, in preparation for my results show, I got to listen to what I said about this fight beforehand. I said, because, he's G-A-Y. And he went out there and fought. He put on a cape, and now he's super G-A-Y. This Peyton Talbot, he said his hands are bisexual, bro. He did. He said men and women can catch these hands. Good for him. Listen to me very carefully. When I made my pre-fight assessment of this fight, I talked about Felipe Lima being a very dominant fighter, a very good fighter. He's beaten great opposition. And I know he's going to go out there and wrestle. He saw Barcelos do this. He shouldn't be striking with Talbot, and he should go out there and wrestle Talbot. And we know Talbot can't wrestle. We saw it. There's no way Talbot's closing the distance on this wrestling. So, I was wrong. Talbot closed the distance on the wrestling. Yes, Felipe Lima tried to wrestle. 5 takedowns, or 5 attempts, 3 takedowns. Ton of control time in here. But Peyton Talbot did what he needed to do. He looked like a world-class athlete, and I want to get to the second part of my assessment of that fight. Some of you guys don't watch the video all the way through. But when I talked about this fight, I said very clearly, hey, Peyton Talbot was a minus 1,300 favorite the last time he was in the cage. If there was ever a time to believe in Peyton Talbot, it's right now. He's a plus 135 underdog. You got to believe in this. This is the best you're ever going to see him at. And I explained it again. If he wins this fight, Vegas will never give you a plus 135 on this kid ever again. And if he loses this fight, he's going to get an easier fight on the prelims, and he'll never be a plus 135 again. So if there was ever a time in your life that you should buy a fighter, and that's how you have to do it. You want to buy low and sell high, this whole deal. If there was ever a time to buy in on a fighter, it was this fight. And I was wrong about Felipe Lima. Peyton Talbot's a dynamic striker, dynamic athlete, and when you're this young, you can make strides to improve. You can make strides to improve when you're this young, and apparently that's what this guy did. Still don't like his dainty fingernails and the way he gets down, but man, he's super GAY. Shout out to Peyton Talbot, getting it done. By the way, some of you guys put an absorbent amount of resources on this. It wasn't a lock. It was just another prediction on the main card. You gotta do better. You gotta do better. Beneil Derouch versus Renato Moicano. I picked Beneil. I thought I loved him as an underdog. I really did. I just think he's a more cerebral fighter. He's somebody I can believe in. And Renato Moicano, I've actually seen him just not get the job done when it really matters. That's the reality of the situation. I told you his record was a byproduct of just a lot of luck. He's a one-trick pony. He's got a good grappler. He's got that grappling ability, or at least submission game. But I don't believe in him like this. I see Beneil Dariush fight the best fighters in the world and win. I'm on Beneil Dariush. I don't care. And he's a boring dude. Should probably be selling insurance. I don't care. 5 takedowns. Lands all 5 takedowns. Control time, 5 minutes. I'm coasting to victory. This is easy for me. Shout out to Beneil Dariush. Hitting an underdog of this magnitude in this fight felt really good for me. I hope it felt good for you too. It's not going to feel good if you parlayed it. If you parlayed it with this. Straights, bro. Straights. Get used to it. Straights. August is coming. You better get in the habit of straights. August is coming. Then we have Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval. I really believe in Brandon Royval. Went back and watched it. What a war. What an absolute war. I'm pretty sure a lot of people think this is fight of the year, which is crazy because last week was the Mota fight. Mata and who's that kid? Sadiakov. They each got $100,000 for throwing down. These two dudes threw down. Now, the 30-27 is mind-boggling to me, but it really doesn't matter unless you were on a plus 3.5 for Royval. If you were betting those points things. But 30-27 is a little. I think that's the books cooking whoever took Royval plus 3.5. So, but shout out to Joshua Van. Really impressed me. His ability to strike, his ability to impose damage in the third round, still be an effective striker. Looks like he's out there, man. And I feel terrible because I believed in Brandon Royval. But when you get into this matchup where you're not going to get takedowns and utilize your advantage, that's just silly to me. Why is there no takedown attempts? Why is there no control time? Why is there no mixed martial arts? This is not mixed martial arts. This is kickboxing. This is Muay Thai. This is not MMA. You're supposed to be mixing up all the martial arts. Where's the wrestling? Where's the judo and jiu-jitsu? Royval, you make a tactical error, and your corner makes a tactical error in that regard. Now, on the flip side, Joshua Van, bro. You're about that life, dude. Bad little dude. Bad little dude. I'm not taking him. I'd love to know the odds when he fights the champ. I'd love to know the odds. Speaking of the champ, Alexander Pantosia right here. Fighting Carr, France. My only lock on the card. I didn't care about what they were talking about. My only lock on the card, and I'm laughing. Why is this a minus 280? What is this? This little dude got no chance. I don't believe in Carr, France. Don't care. Don't care. We get a win in the third round, rear naked choke, 7 minutes of control time, landing half our takedowns. This was the easiest thing I've ever called in my life. I'm just looking at it. I don't believe in it, bro. I'm good. Believe in little Pantosia. Get it done. Shout out to him. Shout out to the MVPs who believed in it. And then the main event. I told you guys I believe Ilia Topuria hits too hard. I'm going to go on record for telling you I think Ilia Topuria is one of the greatest fighters of all time. The man is undefeated, 17-0. And he has knocked out the likes of Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway, Volkanovski. That's an absurd run of knockouts. I want you to listen to those names again. These are all Hall of Famers. Volkanovski, Holloway, and Oliveira, and he's knocked them all out the last time he's been in the cage. Now you tell me he's got to go up to 170 and fight some other dude. I got it. This is the greatest fighter of all time. He's a dual champion, dual weight class champion, undefeated, never lost to anybody. Greatest fighter of all time. Went out there and did exactly what I expected. He hits too hard. He's going to hurt you. And I've watched Charles Oliveira lose for every first round of his life and come back and win a fight. You're not going to come back and win this fight. I told you he's going to win this by knockout. It's going to be a stoppage. Believe in it. That's what I said in the pre-fight video. I can't make it any easier for you. Very easy call for me. No doubt in my mind. And I saw a guy on the Discord server. Rico's being disrespectful. He's saying terrible things about my favorite fighter of all time, Oliveira. Bro, get off my fucking server. Get out of my living room, bro. I provide that place. Get out of here. Shout out to me. Got it right. Shout out to the MVPs. Once again, if you want to know the results, they'll be posted. It's here. You can see it. We're not hiding anything. Currently, locks are looking at 73.68%. Parlay props, parlay locks, looking at 56%. Stay away from the parlays. Leans are almost to 70% now. It's fucking phenomenal. We're getting everything right, guys. That's all we can do. You got to cook with it. The analysis is there. And even when we get the outcome wrong, we're still evaluating the fighters properly, and that's what really matters. Okay? We've had 4 bad weeks so far. First half of the year is done. We've had 4 bad weeks, and that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 green cards. 17 for red. That's 21 main events. I've gotten the main event right 17 times. I've missed 4 main events so far this year, so 17 out of 21. Go do the math on that, Joker. 17 out of 21. It's pretty phenomenal. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Good luck, MVPs. I'll see you on the flip side. Go on.